Hi, this is George from The Return of the King. The prophet Joel tells us that before the day of the Lord, the tribulation, that your old men shall dream dreams. Well, there's a dream that I've shared with you multiple times and an experience where God spoke to me that I've shared in 3 videos. And one of those videos was just about that experience. I shared what happened to me with 2 of the pastors of the church I was attending at the time. 2 brothers, Dennis and John Worre. This was at the Jesus People Church in Rogers, Minnesota. I was on stage as part of the worship team. John Worre asked me to share what had happened with the congregation, and I did. I always felt that what had happened would somehow have something to do with the day of the rapture, and it appears that it does. It was on November 5th, 2016 that the Lord spoke to me. This August I found the connection, which is what this video is all about. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Even on the male and female servants in those days I will pour out my Spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. Now, my last video was about this last passage, the sun to darkness and the moon to blood. Just so you understand what this video is about, it's about what I believe is another confirmation that the 15th day of the 3rd month on the Jewish calendar is the day of the rapture. This first group of 7 blood moons, the Revelation 12 sign, the eclipses in Leo, and the eclipse in the constellation of Gemini are all pointing to the rapture of the Christian. From the last blood moon of the blood moon tetrad, it's 726 days. Strong 726 is the word harpazo, rapture. From the Revelation 12 sign to the 15th day of the 3rd month, it just happens to be 1,726 days to the 15th day of the 3rd month on the Jewish calendar. There are 3 true feast days. It's on these feast days all males are required to attend. They are meetings with God. We are told that 2 of the 3 are on the 15th day of the month. So it makes sense that the Feast of Harvest, Pentecost, should also be on the 15th day of the month. When the calendar is calculated correctly, as it was at the time of Moses, Pentecost is always on the 15th day of the 3rd month. The account of the 153 fish and the connection to the 15th day, 3rd month, was told to me at 4 a.m. on July 3rd. I had already been looking at the 15th day, 3rd month as the day of the rapture. If I had not been told, I don't think I would have ever made that connection. That account is about the rapture of the church. It's also in the middle of the 3rd month that Moses goes up the mountain and God comes down to meet him, a type of the rapture. The second group of 7 eclipses are about the coming of the Antichrist, the dragon and the beast system of Revelation chapters 12 and 13. This last blood moon here is in the constellation of Libra, which represents judgment. In my last video, I had it incorrectly in the constellation of Scorpio. This last blood moon representing the coming judgment of God on the inhabitants of the earth. And on the Gregorian calendar, the date 6/15/2022 adds up to 666, the number of the beast. On the morning of the rapture, there's a lot going on in the constellations of the rapture. Our focus for this video is on the 3-star alignment of Venus, Mercury, and Aldebaran, 2 wandering stars and 1 fixed star. The Revelation 12 sign confirms this date. What I am about to show you in this video, titled here, When You Finish, They Will Come, confirms this date also. And then in this dream I had of a marathon race in Egypt, which I talked about in several videos, which I believe confirms that this will be the day also. Maybe there's some other way to interpret all of this, but at this moment, I really don't see any other way. In the Revelation 12 sign, at dawn, a 3-star alignment occurs in the constellation of Leo. On the day of the rapture, another 3-star alignment occurs in the constellation of Taurus. When we overlay them, we find out that they match. The Revelation 12 sign is confirming that this is the day. Jesus rose on the third day. It was at the third hour he was crucified. Darkness lasted for 3 hours when he was on the cross. In the Bible, the number 3 is the number of resurrection. While I was out deer hunting, God spoke to me. I shared just that experience here in this video. This video is titled 2020 Rapture, How God Showed Me His Timing Will Be Perfect. It was released on July 23rd of 2020. I also shared on this video on September 22nd, 2020. And I also shared it again on this video on April 25th of 2021. So it was on November 5th, 2016 that I'm up in my tree stand reading the book of Genesis. I get this, what I would call a strong impression, that when I finish reading Genesis, a deer is going to come. At first I just blow it off as wishful thinking, but it's persistent and it just won't go away. When I get to Genesis 49:21, I read this. Naphtali is a doe let loose that bears beautiful fawns. So I very mockingly said to myself, well, it looks like it's going to be a doe. I'm not convinced that this is God. It's just me. Wishful thinking on my part. But for some reason, I got this sense that something was going to happen, that a doe is going to come around sunset, about 2.5 hours from now, because that's the most likely time that you see deer. Within moments of finishing, I could hear them coming. When they came, they sounded like the rushing wind. They were running hard and fast. They came from behind me, 1 doe and 2 fawns. I had never heard anything like that sound before while I was hunting. They stopped behind these trees. All I could see were 3 heads, 1 big one, and then 2 smaller ones. At first, I didn't know what they were. I thought, what kind of weird forest creatures are these? I just noticed they had really big ears. Up to this point, I had never seen more than 1 deer at a time hunting. It took some time, and all of a sudden it just hit me, like a brick to the head, that these animals are deer. I absolutely couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was very surreal. This was the most shocking experience of my life, up to that time, and even since that time. It was in August of 2021 when I was looking at this 3-star alignment that I realized a similarity to the arrival of the 3 deer. The deer appeared in the same location relative to the sun and my location. I'm facing north, and north is up in this view. And when they came, they lined up just like this, with the doe Naphtali in front and then the 2 fawns. And then I started thinking, how much do you want to bet that the tribe of Naphtali is associated with the constellation of Aries? Sure enough, the first source I checked has Naphtali associated with Aries. In Hebrew, Aries is Taleh, and the second half of the word Naphtali is Taleh. Taleh in Hebrew means the Lamb. Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. In Revelation 22:16, Jesus tells us he's the bright morning star. So the doe Naphtali is synonymous with Jesus, the bright morning star. The 3 deer came in a particular order. The doe Naphtali is in front, and the 2 fawns are behind. When we look at the heavens, the doe Naphtali represents the bright morning star, and the other 2 deer represent the other 2 stars. On the day that Jesus tells us he's coming, at dawn, you will see the bright morning star in the constellation of both Taurus and Aries. Taurus represents Christ the Judge, and Aries represents Taleh the Lamb. The 2 other stars are in Taurus, the wandering star Mercury, and the star Aldebaran. The order of the deer and their location relative to the sun matches what you see here in the heavens. So here's my interpretation of the experience. On the day that you see the bright morning star representing Jesus in the constellation of the Lamb, Aries Taleh, aligned with 2 other stars, that is when I will come. Just like I, the Lord, told you they would come, the deer, when you finish reading the book of Genesis. This was a real experience that I've shared many times here on my channel, and I was even asked to share it at church because it was so unusual. Here's the thing, I always had this sense or impression that it must have something to do with the rapture, and it really appears it does. Now, the odds of this happening by chance are a minimum of 1 in 24,000. I did some very simple math. I've spent around 400 hours over the last 10 years deer hunting. That's 24,000 minutes. It only happened once that one doe and 2 fawns appeared. So if you allow for a 1-minute window from the time I finish to the time they arrive, there's a 1 in 24,000 chance of that occurring. And let's just say there's a 1 in 4 chance of them stopping between me and the sun. That now becomes a 1 in 96,000 chance. Now, the only reason I'm reading Genesis is because some friend asked me to be on their team for a Bible quiz contest at church. Had they not asked, I wouldn't have done it. I'm just not good at remembering lots of little details. I have to write most things down. I really wasn't interested, but I did it because they asked. So this whole thing could be a chance experience, but not very likely. So when we look at this 3-star alignment, we saw that the Revelation 12 sign is confirming the day. We see what I have just shown you, the 3 deer appearing when I was told they would, is confirming this day. And in a future video, I will show my dream of a marathon race in Egypt that is also very precisely pointing to this day as the day of the rapture. It was that dream that led me to look at this area of the heavens. And when I looked up the meaning of these constellations in the book Gospel in the Stars by Joseph Zeiss, that's when I begin to understand the relationship to the rapture. If you haven't watched these videos appearing on the screen now would be the time. I want to thank you all for watching. It won't be much longer, so be patient. God knows exactly what He's doing. And may God give you the strength and courage to make it through these last days.